what we decided was we needed to have a more local, personal approach. We actually needed for customers to be able to identify with a person in the neighbourhood, with, instead of it just being a neighbourhood officer and then they're passed on, someone who would own their issue, whatever that issue was, whether that issue was a repair issue, whether that issue was an antisocial behaviour, but someone who would lead on it and take ownership and responsibility for it. But for people to do that, so for officers to do that, they have to be empowered and enabled to do it. So what we're trying out is a model, and we're identifying the local area at the moment in which we're almost going to create super officers who can do it all. I think it's almost to some extent going back to the 70s and 80s, where everybody knew their local housing officer or their local neighbourhood officer, and they went to that neighbourhood officer, and that neighbourhood officer would be able to sort out whatever their issue is, rather than being passed from pillar to post. But also that neighbourhood officer would be enabled and empowered to be able to identify proactively where we can make positive interventions. So we're looking at things like annual property inspections, not just the gas inspections that go on, but where we can go in and work with the tenant on what needs to be done to that property proactively, so that we're not, so where we've got, you know, if we know that we've got a child who lives in that property with asthma, have we got the right ventilation in place? Have we got an issue with damp and mold that we can easily resolve? Now, all of those things will come at a cost. It will be more expensive, and this is going to be the challenge for us as leaders in the organisation, and also a challenge for the board, is to recognise that actually this is going to cost more in the short term, but actually there'll be a medium term and long term gain, because we'll be much more proactive around the homes that people live in, but much more supportive of the people who live in those homes, if that makes sense.